Most homeschool music lessons don't fail because of laziness. They fail because parents misunderstand what music education is actually for. The result is frustration, inconsistent practice, children who quit, and parents who, after a while, decide music just isn't for us. But the problem usually isn't the child, and it isn't even the instrument. It's the framework. In this video, I'm going to explain why most homeschool music lessons break down and how to fix them in a way that leads to consistency, growth, and real musical formation. Many homeschool parents begin music lessons with one of two goals. Either, my child should learn an instrument because it's good for them, or my child seems talented and we should develop that. Both sound reasonable, but neither defines what music is meant to form. When the goal is vague enrichment, practice feels optional. When the goal is performance achievement, pressure starts to build quickly. Music becomes either casual or stressful, and neither approach leads to long-term growth. Music education works best when the goal is formation, attention, discipline, listening, and expression. Without a clear formational purpose, lessons often drift. Another reason homeschool music lessons fail is that lessons are isolated from musical culture. Children are asked to practice pieces they do not understand in styles they have not heard, written by composers they do not know. Imagine learning to speak a language you never hear spoken. Performance without listening is kind of like that. It creates mechanical practice. Listening is very helpful, but listening alone isn't really enough. A listening practice should also include some context. When children regularly hear beautiful music, learn about the composers, understand the historical world behind the pieces, and develop the ability to perceive what the music is expressing, then their practice changes. It becomes participation in something larger. And here's a third issue. Homeschool families are busy. Music sometimes becomes the first subject to slide when the week gets full. But music learning requires routine. Short, consistent daily practice is more powerful than long, irregular sessions. Music lessons fail when practice is optional, when expectations are unclear, or no regular listening habit exists. Children really thrive on structure. Music should feel like part of the educational rhythm, not an extracurricular add-on. Many parents abandon music because it becomes difficult. But difficulty is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. The key is guided difficulty, age-appropriate expectations, thoughtful repertoire, encouragement without pressure, and celebration of little victories that happen on the way to learning a piece. When challenge and difficulty are purposeful, children gain confidence through mastery. When difficulty feels arbitrary, they tend to disengage. If music lessons in your homeschool have felt fragile or inconsistent, here's a practical framework to restore stability. First, define your purpose. Clarify why music belongs in your homeschool. If the goal is formation, not performance, your expectations and tone will change. 2, build a listening culture. Play music intentionally in your home and talk about what you listen to. Set aside time for focused listening. Introduce composers and historical context gradually. 3rd, establish a rhythm. Choose a short, consistent daily practice time. Consistency matters more than duration. Also, it's great to invest some time in learning how to practice. Your child may not really know what to do when you ask him or her to go practice. Equip your children with some specific strategies, and practice will feel less like a looming chore and more like an opportunity to learn and grow. It will still be a challenge, but it will feel more like a challenge they can tackle. 4, teach context. Help your child understand the music they're playing. Who wrote it, why it sounds the way it does, and what makes it distinctive. 5, normalize effort. Talk openly about difficulty as part of learning. Growth requires work in every subject, music included. Also, celebrate all the little victories along the way to learning a new piece or developing a new musical skill. Growth requires effort, and the feeling of overcoming challenges is fantastic and highly motivating. When these elements align, music lessons stop feeling fragile. They become sustainable and much more meaningful. Music education is not primarily about producing performers. It's about forming attentive, disciplined, perceptive human beings. When music lessons fail, it's usually because they were treated as an activity, not a formative art. If the framework is repaired, then the outcome changes. If this resonates with you, I recommend watching my video on why children need difficult music, not just pleasant music. It builds directly on what we discussed today, especially about guided challenge and formation. And if you're trying to build a complete music plan for your homeschool, I also recommend how to build a beautiful music education in your homeschool. I'll link both on the screen now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.